All right, it's a Wednesday, and that means one thing and one thing only in the 5 o'clock hour. We bring you the War Room.
It's the greatest.
It's Bruce and Gaydos. Inside the War Room today, Gayle Bass, TV and radio personality.
And
Gayle.
film.
And film. Yeah, exactly. How are you, Gayle?
I'm great, doing a black job.
Oh, for crying out loud, you're starting already.
You like when I do that every week.
You're starting already. We've got Jay Feely, former Cardinal kicker, 2010 to 2013, CBS Sports NFL football analyst. Jay, nice to have you in here, man.
Yeah, I'm just a dumb jock.
You are not.
We got a lot of fantasy football questions for you, by the way.
I recently worked with Nate Burleson. He's not a dumb jock.
No, I love Nate. Nate's awesome.
He's a great guy, and hopefully you are as well.
Hey,
we'll find out, right?
And just to say, Jay, when you would go and you would tackle people, it would get me jacked up, man, during that Cardinals game. Some of my favorite stuff, man.
Watch out, Gayle.
All right, so Jay, you're a Trump supporter, right? You like Trump.
I am a conservative, and the more I got to know Donald Trump personally, the more I liked him.
How'd you get to know him personally?
We started golfing together.
Really?
I did a few things for him when he was running. I've done a lot politically with George Bush, even Bill Clinton. Like Bill Clinton and I went down to Haiti a number of times together, and he helped me with the project I was doing down there. Gave us some solar lights that we put in, and
that's terrific.
So for me, politics should be about doing what's best for people. It shouldn't be about party. And when I got to know Donald Trump and spend time with him, and you spend time personally, I liked him a lot more than I did prior to knowing him, and that's why I'm a big supporter of his.
Okay, if I can, I know this is your show, but I want to know what this is like. Because what I see and what you're talking about, it's like we're talking about two totally different people. Tell me about the private Donald Trump that you know that makes you say, I like this guy.
I'll tell you one story, Gayle. And I wasn't with him this day when this happened, but I was playing at one of his golf courses up in New York at Westchester. And I was playing with my son, just the two of us. And we were talking to one of the groundskeepers guys there. Mm-hmm. And a black gentleman, and he told us a story where he was going to lose his house, and Donald Trump went in and paid for his house, paid his mortgage off, and helped him, and why he was so loyal to Donald Trump. That's a story that nobody knows and hasn't heard, and I could tell you 3 or 4 of those from my time with people telling me like how he helped them. And when you sit there with him in person, he's a very genuine person that's not, trying to be outlandish and trying to get sound bites. I think that gets lost when he's doing speeches and when he's doing debates and things of that nature.
Well, that's interesting to hear.
So let's go over some of that. Somebody tried to take a shot at Donald Trump again last weekend. Yeah. And we're inside the War Room. Bruce and Gaydos, Jay Feely is here. We've got Gayle Bass here. Second assassination attempt. And we're hearing about rhetoric. Is the rhetoric too much?
Violent rhetoric.
Yeah, let me play you some rhetoric from both sides, okay? Ellen DeGeneres asked Kamala Harris this question.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Press always asks me, don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school, I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
All right. And then, of course, Trump.
There's a radical left Marxist, communist, fascist. She's a Marxist. She's a fascist. Comrade Kamala Harris. Comrade Kamala Harris.
All right. So the rhetoric is bad on both sides. Is it equally as bad on both sides?
Absolutely not.
Well, the what you played about the Marxists, the socialists, I don't think that's the speech that people have heard Trump say. Like when we see him at, like when he was running like 4 years ago or whatever, he was saying, carry that guy out of here. They used to be able to rough him up. That's the kind of speech I think people are talking about. And
beat
saying,
up protesters, I'll pay your legal bills.
And then the Proud Boys, tell the Proud Boys to, stand up or stand whatever.
So you're right. You're going down the more violent path or maybe some of the things that were more violent.
But most reasonable people wouldn't do that. But you have to remember the people with the guns, they're unreasonable. So you don't know what's going to trigger them. Macaroni and cheese might trigger somebody one day. They might just say, that was disgusting. Well, I'm going to go after somebody.
It strikes me that at least with the shooter or the attempted assassination, the shooter in Florida, I guess I'll use, at the golf course, I don't know what his motivation is, but the only thing that I can connect to Trump is Ukraine. That this guy was a big supporter of Ukraine. He was trying to recruit people and somehow took offense at Trump's anti-Ukraine, whatever version he thought it was. Like, I don't know where else it would have came from.
But the question is, like, how do you let somebody for 12 hours around a perimeter?
Yeah.
For me, because there's always going to be crazy people. There are people who go in and shoot up schools. There are people who will attempt an attack on a president. There are people who will do this.
But why are we seeing it more Donald Trump twice? He almost got killed one time.
I'll give you my perspective.
Yeah,
my perspective is when you say that somebody's a threat to democracy, when you put this idea out there that the country is at risk and is at stake if he becomes president again, then you're saying that the end justifies the means. And then people who are delusional, who do have mental illness, they feel like if they take a shot at him, if they do something, they're doing the country a service. They're doing a greater good. I saw a poll today, Gayle, that said almost a quarter of all Democrats would be okay or would be happy if Donald Trump got shot, if he got executed.
I won't even say the stuff that they said about, we can go back to Obama and Clinton to talk about bad stuff that Republicans
said that the country would be better off if Donald Trump was executed. You and I should be able to have a debate of ideas, and we could disagree completely, and we can have totally two different views, but we should be able to be respectful and kind and be able to talk, be able to have dinner. Like that's what I was saying. Like Bill Clinton, he used to joke with me and be like, well, we needed one conservative in our group, and we could sit there and have conversations. My wife and I had dinner with him one time. My wife is more conservative than I am, and we talked for 3 hours. And at the end, I was like, I know why he's good in politics. Well, he can get gut-level connections with somebody who totally disagrees with him, direct eye contact. He's very talented. But we should be able to have that exercise.
I'm a black woman in Arizona. I wouldn't have any friends if I didn't have people who were MAGA as friends, because there wouldn't be any friends for me. I've said this on the air before. So yes, we can reason with each other without being unreasonable, but it's come from both sides, because let's face it, January 6th was an insurrection. Let's face it. They actually and actively tried to go into the Capitol and went after Mike Pence in their own party. The things that have been said on Fox News and other places have been just as bad. Well, that's the problem on both sides.
I disagree, not with you. I disagree that it's a both sides issue. I don't know, maybe 80-20, because when you're talking about violent rhetoric, you're talking about a candidate who laughed at Paul Pelosi being attacked.
That's terrible.
Who wanted a military tribunal for Liz Cheney, told the Second Amendment people they should go after Hillary Clinton, called for General Mark Milley to be executed, and retweeted or truthed, I guess you'd say, a picture of Biden tied up inside of a pickup truck.
Well, I could go through and say exactly the same thing. So,
I'd love to see it.
The pictures of the actresses holding Trump's head. Kathy Griffin.
These are things Trump said.
Yeah, but you can go through each one. When you say somebody's a threat to democracy, when you talk about how they should not be anywhere near a political office in our country, and we'd be better off without them. Or you say, hey, we should go fight. When you see that party, you go in there and you don't let them sit and have dinner. Those are the kind of things that Democrats say as well. It's both sides, and the media sits there, and the media loves it because it drives ratings.
No, most of the time it's Republicans. Most of the time it's the GOP. Because let's face it, the things you're talking about is that on the right side, it's his own generals, his own staff members are saying he should not be there. They're not using rhetoric. They're saying it, but
you mean the people he fired?
Some of those people quit. Some of those people quit. Let's face it.
A lot of them got fired too. And when you get fired, you sometimes say some bad things about your boss, whether it's true or false, right?
Again, J.D. Vance called him America's Hitler. I didn't, and I think
that was before he was hired.
I think there's a big difference between the candidate saying things and comedians doing stupid things or people on Twitter. I think there's a difference between those. We are inside the war room, and we've got former Cardinals kicker Jay Feely with us, and star of radio, screen, stage. I don't know what your IMDb page says.
I was on stage. There was a Christmas Carol.
There you
KTAR
go.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, Gayle Bass with us. We'll come back next. We're going to talk a little bit about immigration and mass deportation. How? We'll talk about it next. It's coming up right here. Inside the War Room on KTAR. Inside the War Room real quickly. Gaydos, shout out to Wickenburg. Everybody out there in the Berg. Do they call it the Berg? I don't think they call it the Berg.
No.
Do they call it the Wicken? That would be even worse, wouldn't it? Wickenburg. Shout out to you guys. All right.
Great golf course out there.
All right. Is
Yeah.
there?
Mm-hmm.
They have a great riparian area you can tour as well.
Excuse me, a what?
Riparian area.
Can we say that on the radio? Is that
Yeah,
a word you can say on the radio?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Google it here in a minute and tell you.
Way
if it's
ahead
okay.
of you.
All right.
Way ahead of you. Googling, I'll get you the answer in a minute.
Will you? Thank you so much. Hey, we've got former Cardinal kicker, CBS Sports analyst, Jay Feely. Is analyst the right term I would use?
It would. It
okay.
is.
I want to make sure I get it right. And, of course, Gayle Bass, TV, radio personality. And there's that one film credit. All right. So we have all kinds of polling data out there, Gaydos. You see all kinds of different things. And an interesting one came out about support for mass deportations, and it was broken down by political affiliation.
Okay, so 54% of Americans, let's just go over it overall, 54% of American voters are saying, yes, we support the mass deportations. Donald Trump has talked about this. So it's a Scripps News Ipsos poll, all right? Now, it does break down between political parties, and it's basically what you think it would be. But if 54% of Americans say, yeah, we need to talk about this. Too many people are here, and they're here illegally. Let's go through this with our panel. Is this something that Trump can win on? Is this the one thing that maybe, Trump's got over 50% thinking this same thing? How do we do it? He said he wants to do it. I personally don't know how you could actually, deport thousands and thousands of people. I don't think it's realistic. But is this what he should be running on?
Well, you can deport thousands. I don't know if you can deport millions. I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how logistically you could do that and how it would work. And I think that's why it's so important to have a border that's secure and that people aren't coming over illegally. Because when you let 20 million people in, you're not going to be able to say, hey, all of a sudden, you're working here, you have family here, you have to leave.
Right.
And I'm somebody who very much supports legal immigration. I think the legal immigration process should be much easier.
Hear, hear.
But illegal immigration, we should have a secure border, and you should be able to vet the people that are coming across that border. And, we should not allow people to come in who might be a threat to people here in our country. And that's the problem. That's what's happened under Biden and Harris, because in the first year of office, Biden had 296 executive orders on the border, 90 of which undid Trump policies, most of the policies that were effective in not allowing illegal aliens to come across the border. That's the facts. That's the reality. Kamala Harris, Biden, they can't get away from that. Trump, I thought, did a very poor job at the debate because he got sucked in to talking about the size of his rallies and talking about things that they wanted him to talk about and not focusing on exactly what he should be focusing on. That's the policies of that administration.
Well, I just want to say a president should be disciplined and not, off target by that. But let's face it, there are millions of people who've come across the border, and it's not just under Biden, and it was under Trump as well, and under every president since
Did
Reagan.
more come across under Biden and Harris?
It doesn't.
Yes.
To me, it doesn't matter because you have people. You have 11 million people here who you say you're going to deport. You cannot do that.
Not
it
11.
would
Not even close.
Probably 20.
Well, nobody knows what the number is.
It's
nobody
not 11.
acknowledge that.
But it's millions of people. Let's face it. It's millions of people, and it would have a deleterious effect on our economy. We can't do that.
Oh, it would crater the U.S. economy.
And number two, biblically speaking, I feel like if you're the party of Christian values and you say that we're the Christian right and we're for Trump and all that, you're supposed to treat strangers who come into your country as if they were one of your own. So either you're one way
Does that
or
mean
the
we
other.
let everybody in? Does that mean we don't have a border at all?
All these
Come
people,
on in.
you know what? These people's they're coming from countries that need help,
No,
and
I
those
agree with
countries they're coming from countries that need help. So why don't we have effective measures to help those people where they are? We don't
prevent them from coming.
Yeah.
Well, we do spend
So hold on.
millions
Is it
and
our
millions
job as
doing it.
America to help people in Venezuela?
We are our brother's
our-
keepers.
It's not our job. Can you help every country in the world?
So just erect a
Where
wall
do you
and
draw
say,
the line?
fight it out yourselves?
Do you say, hey, you're in South America, we will financially help you, but you're over in Asia, we're not going to financially help you.
Well, they have an easier way of getting over. Let's face it. It's for them, it's location because there are people from China coming over.
They can't get across. They can't swim across. You're stuck in Haiti. It's the poorest country in the world. There is no successful way to be a success financially in Haiti. You know, and there's, see, I differ than a lot of Republicans because the parole program that exists for Haiti, I agree with.
Explain it. I apologize that I don't know, Jim.
There's certain countries, because of how bad it is in those countries, that they have a parole program where you can come here for 2 years. You can say,
the TPS?
I need asylum because I am, like right now in Haiti, literally people are being eaten. There is cannibalism. There are gangs that have taken over Haiti. They go into the villages. They steal your home. They steal your things. There's no police force.
It's a failed state.
It is a failed state.
There's no president. It's a completely failed state.
And asylum, that's what asylum is all about.
That's who we should help, Gayle. And I agree with that.
I don't disagree with you.
But you can help people and have a program set up to help those who truly do need it. And that needs to be easier because I have 12 people right now in that program that have been in that program waiting for over a year. That have no home, no food, nowhere to go, that are running from gangs all the time. And because it's so much red tape, then they can't get into the country, but they're like, hey, should I go to the border and come across illegally? I'm like, no, I don't believe in that. I'm not going to support that. You can't go and come across illegally, but we're going to wait for the system to work. That's the problem that we have right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we're disagreeing about that.
And I have immense sympathy for the people of Haiti, and I know that it's uniquely bad there compared to some of the other economic refugees. But they're still demonized in this country now if they're in Springfield, Ohio. So there's another issue with that. Even those that are here under these TPSs, there is a portion that doesn't want any of them here. We got to talk about childless cat ladies, don't we? Is that the thing, Gaydos?
Well, we had Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's getting some backlash for something that she said on stage with former President Trump. We're going to try and figure out, is this remark offensive? And why does it seem that some Republicans are having it out for people who don't have biological children? Is that fair, or are we being unfair? We're going to talk about that next. The War Room. Stick around. All right, we're inside the War Room, a political symposium, if you will. We cut through all the noise, tried to get to what's really important in the 2024 presidential election. Trump v. Kamala.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so we've got Bruce and Gaydos. We've got Gayle Bass. We've got Jay Feely, former Cardinal kicker, CBS Sports. And if you've missed the first half an hour, shame on you. It should be on your schedule. Feely talking about meeting Trump and knowing him a little bit. Playing golf with him. Very interesting, telling us a different side of Donald Trump.
I was on the tee box. This is a crazy story, real quick, but I'm on the tee box, 13th hole with him. The Secret Service, he was the acting president.
By the way, where are we playing?
At Trump National Bedminster, New Jersey.
Bedminster, got it.
The Secret Service runs up to us. They're like, Mr. Trump, or President Trump, there is a plane that's flown into restricted airspace. They're not answering. We have 2 F-15s that are en route, and we're all looking like, oh my gosh. You know, they're like, your Vice President Pence is in a secure location. Your family's secure. And so we start looking, and sure enough, here's this little Cessna flying right towards us. And these F-15s roll up behind it, fire flare missiles at it, get in front of it, wave their wings, get right back behind it, and finally it listens and they take it down.
Oh my God.
And we asked the Secret Service, we're like, what happens next? And they're like, well, we shoot it out of the air if it, if it doesn't listen. It ends up being 3 guys that were going on a fishing trip who had taken their headset off and are flying. Can you imagine? Like these F-15s roll up behind, start
you have to change your shorts.
That needs to be an episode or something.
You're almost killed.
God, yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Could you imagine?
Don't do that.
No,
Important safety tip. Important safety tip.
Let's get to our next issue about what's happening on the campaign trail. Some are saying the Trump campaign can't quit childless cat ladies. Okay, so we heard that from the vice presidential candidate Vance a little bit. Obviously, it was a couple years ago. He said it first. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders kind of went there.
This was yesterday.
It's with Trump on stage at the town hall. Why don't we play it? Let's discuss it. Here is Huckabee Sanders.
So my kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble.
All right. Why do they keep doing this? Or are we missing something here? Did we not play the whole clip? I think we played the whole clip.
No, it's not out of context. I mean, that is the context.
What is it about? Vance
not having
and
biological children.
Yeah.
Because she is the mother of what? 2 stepchildren.
Correct. Right. My best job, I'm a stepdad. That's my best job.
My boyfriend's 2 girls consider me part of the family.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to get personal here, and I'm not going to talk about Sarah's statement. I'm going to say it like this. I was brought up in a very conservative Christian family. We were Pentecostals, so, I always wore skirts to church. We even wore skirts to the picnic, because who's going to wear the shorts? Who's going to be the one to wear sweats? Baggy sweats that show nothing, and you knew me for years. You knew I was very, very devout for years, and I have not been married, and I chose not to have a baby out of wedlock because of my Christian values.
Good for you.
And so now I'm being chastised for that because, number one, I later found out that I would have a very difficult time having children should I decide to have them, and I would need to have help. And number two, I didn't make enough to raise a child by myself in Arizona without a partner. And I did not want to do that alone. I praise women who adopt and raise children alone, but I had no family here to be a backup. I had nobody to go pick up the kid if I had breaking news where let's just say I got an interview with President Trump or Kamala Harris, and I had to say, well, I can't do it because my kid is sick. So when I hear something like that, I think, I've been doing the things that the Republican Party likes to hear. Mm-hmm. And now it's not advantageous.
Well, it makes it sound like you're lesser than.
Yeah.
You're less American, you're less what? I don't understand the attack.
But it's
on
something
the childless.
I think it's something they're doing on purpose because it's happened over and over and over again. You've got Vance who's done it.
Well, why would they do it on purpose? It's not a winning issue.
Well, they're
it's
not
gonna,
misspeaking.
There's nothing that is going to benefit them focusing on that. We should be honoring our wives, our mothers, our daughters, anyone who, I don't care if it's your child or not, if you're trying to have an impact on them. My wife, when she teaches, her students love her like a mom. Like they respect her, they appreciate her. Sometimes she fills the role of mother for some of them or father for some of them. So I don't understand why they would focus on it, and it's getting distracted again. If somebody asks you a question about that, you just say, hey, I honor and respect anybody who wants to try to have an impact on kids in any form, but let me focus on Kamala Harris and what her policies are. That's all they should be doing. Going back to what their policies were in the last 3 years, how they failed the American people, focusing on the border and the economy, the 2 most important issues to Americans, and 2 issues that Trump wins on, and focus on Trump and his policies and what were successful in his 4 years.
2 things, Jay. Again, Jay Felian with us, Gayle Bass. 2 things. Number 1, it's Kamala. We won't mispronounce anybody else's name. It's Kamala. And secondly, well, they're the ones that are talking about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was an argument that Tim Waltz brought it up, okay, well, it's a political argument. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was standing on stage introducing Trump, and that was part of her speech. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, well, why are they distracting people with it then and not talking about issues?
So I did listen to the whole as I was driving over here, the whole conversation. A lady talked to her and asked her about children beforehand, and she was responding to that question.
She talked about how her kids make her humble, which is I had zero issue with.
I don't know why she would bring that up. I don't think, like I said, it's a winning issue. And we need to, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, anybody trying to be there for children and help them grow and help them become a success in life, that's to be commended.
Celebrated.
And celebrated.
Here. Okay, great.
But they get it's interesting how some people on the MAGA side get off of what they should be talking about. You mentioned it just a second ago. I mean, Trump should be talking about the border. We live here in Arizona. We know how much of a disaster it's been under Biden. Does he continue to talk about it? How about Vance? Does he continue to talk about it? No, he's talking about the cat lady. Then we got Sanders talking about this stuff. And you're right. What it does is it deflects, or it should not deflects, it distracts from the real issues.
Agreed.
But they do have some sort of a problem with people who don't have kids, and I don't understand it. It's just silly. And you're right, Jay, it's not a winner. It makes them look bad. There's so much other things that they could talk about.
I just think of all the blended families out there and all the different people.
We talk about so many things in politics leading into any presidential election that don't matter. Mm-hmm. You know, the things that matter to people when they go in and they vote, they care about the economy. How is it going to help them?
Yeah, absolutely.
They care about security and their family being safe. Yep. And they care about the values that matter to them.
And policy is almost never discussed. It wasn't really even discussed on the debate
At the debate,
stage.
it wasn't? No.
And you know what? We're going to discuss something that really isn't policy coming up next.
No, let's talk about policy.
But I think it has to be discussed because it won't go away. I wish it would, but it's not going away.
Yeah.
So there are this is a new poll. 52% of Republicans still believe the claim about Haitian migrants eating dogs.
J.D. Vance was talking about it today.
Okay. Now, why can't they stop talking about that? Why is this still in the news? I mean, is it our fault for keeping it in the news? Because I wonder, maybe we should shut up about it, but maybe other people shouldn't continue to talk about it. We'll talk about it, and it's coming up next. All right, another exciting edition of the War Room every Wednesday at 5. It's Bruce and Gaydos. We got Jay Feely, former Cards kicker, and a CBS Sports NFL football analyst.
I got
Gayle
a text
Bass.
that said Jay Feely for president. By the way.
There you go, Jay.
Just throwing it out there, Jay.
Can I be your one lone Democrat?
Yeah, you and me, that's right.
I mean, I'm an independent, really, but, it would be cool to be in there just to say the president doesn't think so.
Hey, before we move on to this, and if you're just joining us, Jay's been talking about he knows Donald Trump, he's golfed with Donald Trump, you're friends with Donald Trump. One thing that during the break that popped into my mind, because you've given a couple of examples, hey, this is the man that I know. If you didn't know Trump personally, how would you feel about him? Would you, because you're conservative, would you support him as much as you do now if you didn't personally know him? Because there's a difference between the guy that you talk about and the guy that's in front of the camera.
So I think you judge a president by his policies and how those policies impact our country. You look at Trump and his economy the first 3 years, real rate wages grew, especially for African Americans, 7.5%, whereas they went down 3.6% under Biden's term. Hispanics, they went up 4.5%. They went down for Hispanics under Biden. So you look at all those things, higher gas prices, higher utility cost, for energy, food, shelter, the things that matter to people, they're paying way more now because of the Biden policies and the Harris policies that they created inflation, the massive $8.2 trillion in spending. And so you contrast those policies and you say, what's best for me? And if I didn't know Trump at all, that's what I would look at. What were his policies? How did it impact me? How did it impact my family? Kamala Harris, Biden, what were their policies and how did it impact my family? And that's how I would vote.
Policy over personality.
Personality doesn't matter. Who cares? I don't care if it's mean. I don't care if he says things I don't like. I don't care if, that is how I would feel about him, but I would vote based on policy and how it impacts me.
I'm sorry, no.
I'm the exact opposite.
No.
Who cares how you feel about somebody? The only thing that matters in politics is policy. How they're going to govern the country.
I don't believe the president controls the price of gas.
Okay, you go to church as the man he is.
What made the price of gas go up?
What you say is
supply and demand.
And what caused the supply and demand?
What caused the price to go up?
Supply and demand definitely caused the prices to go up.
Yeah.
Right? But when you eliminate fracking, when you say, hey, we're going to not have all these leases, when you constrict the market.
We are the number one oil producing country on the planet.
Why is that?
Yes.
Okay,
we're the number one.
Why is that?
And we set a record last year, and we'll beat the record this year.
I love this.
In the history of the world.
And why is that, though? We have less rigs going than we have in the last 20 years.
Then how are we
It's efficiency because they're smart, because they do a great job. They know how to do it. But it has nothing to do with policy from the federal government.
I agree. Policy can't stop Exxon
it can,
and Chevron
because if we went up and we opened up Anwar and we went up and we could be one of the dominant producers in the world.
We are energy independent.
We are much less energy independent than we were under Donald Trump.
That's ridiculous.
Right now.
That's just ridiculous. The numbers don't say that, but that's okay.
If you
can believe it. It's not true.
It's
not true.
Go look at the number of rigs.
We are the
number of leases.
One oil-producing country
because of
on
the efficiency of our people. That
and you're saying if we were number one by a little bit more, we'd be better.
A lot more. Yes, of course we would.
We produce more oil today than we produced under Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with Biden Harris.
I agree. I don't give either president or political party credit for the price of oil. It's a globally traded commodity.
Let me get Gayle Bass in here.
What you say that you shouldn't don't listen to what he says, but the thing is when people speak, they're speaking what's inside them, and they're saying things that they believe. And when he's off the cuff, that that's the true essence of him speaking. So when he says things like, "Well, that black guy who's supporting me is one of the smart ones," I'm sorry, but that's that to me is like, well, if you don't think my people are smart, then why should I even consider you?
So, Gayle, if you lose your house, okay, because of policies put in place by Democrats, do you care whether you like or dislike Donald Trump? No, because you lost your home. Okay, when you have $8 trillion in excess spending, and you cause, because of your policies, inflation to skyrocket, and the prices of what people are paying for double over the course of 3 years, and they can't afford to pay for their home, and now they don't have a home because interest rates are 8%, and they can't afford to live in the house that they lived in before, they could care less about what they feel about somebody. Policy impacts people's lives, and that's how people should vote.
You know what? I don't think that has anything to do with what people are going to vote for in terms of like, well, under this guy, under that guy, because people just say things are more expensive, and the fact of the matter is that the chairman of the Fed said it's not the government. It's not the government's fault that you're paying more. It is corporations.
Why didn't those corporations have greed under Trump?
They did.
Then why didn't they have inflation under Trump?
And his economy, he inherited from 8 years of Obama. And then we had a pandemic.
He deregulated regulation, and he had growth that was sustainable because of his policies.
It's almost as if Congress doesn't exist in this world.
And we're going to stop it right there. A great war room. Jay Feely, terrific to see you.
Nice to meet you.
I love to see we can debate.
I know.
And we can disagree, and we can still like each other.
I want to come speak to her
Next time she's going to come in.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.